Okay, so welcome to this demonstration of how to use Autodesk Inventor. I'm going to walk you through some basic steps, and we're going to talk about some basic functions. The first thing we want to do is Autodesk Inventor, we want to open it. So we want to make sure we do Autodesk Inventor Professional. In this case, we're using 2016. There are multiple versions of this, multiple different names, so make sure that you actually are logging into Autodesk Inventor Professional 2016. So I'm going to double click on that and let it open. Autodesk Inventor is a fairly large program. Depending on the speed of the computer, it may take a minute or two to load, so do not get frustrated if it takes some time. All right. Okay. So what we want to do is we just want to maximize our screen here, make sure that we can use the whole work area. Perfect. So what comes up here is recent documents. What I've worked on recently is a piston. You can choose to look at your file types based on what they are: assemblies, drawings, parts, presentations, whatever you want. In this case, this one is a part. You can tell by the subscript here, the IPT. The next thing is you want to pick what you want to do. In this case, you want to start off by drawing a part. From the parts, you usually go to an assembly, which is putting multiple parts together. You can take a part and put it into a drawing, and then you can put it all together in a presentation if you'd like. The big eye is going to work like your file. So if you click on the big eye, it's going to open up just like you would if you were to click on File in any other program. Here it says New, Open, Projects, Open Sample, Home. These are ones you're going to be using the most often. If you go to New and you click on New, it's going to open up something very similar to what you see down here, and it asks you what you want. The templates that we're going to be using for the most part are going to be standard IPT, standard IAM, standard IDW, and standard IPN. The subscript here, the IPT, the IAM, the IDW, IPN, it tells you what it is. So this is a part, this is an assembly, this is a drawing, and this is a presentation. So let's click on a standard IPT. Just going to double click on that and just give it a minute or two to open up. Okay, so this is the basic screen of Inventor. This is the home screen, if you will. And what I mean by the home screen is this is the screen that comes up as soon as you click on a part. Alright, this is just the basic layout area here. You've got what you're doing over on the left-hand side here. You've got all of your commands at the top. And on first look, this can be very confusing, very intimidating, but if you understand how each one of these tabs works, it's really not. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make just a basic part. Okay, you're going to do this a lot, so get used to using the 3D model commands, the sketch commands you're going to need to do, and the tools are the three ones you're probably going to use the most. Inspect you can use to determine how big something is if you're not sure. Manage, you're really not going to use too much of manage, but at the same time it is helpful when you get into the advanced stuff with Inventor. The view, just like it sounds like, you can change the view of how it looks. The environment is really good. You can change the area around the object that you're making. You can also convert things and do different designs with this. Getting started, if you're really confused on something, you can click on what's new. You can go to help, basically anything you want from the web. And there are a bunch of tutorials that you can go through as well. So let's just go to the 3D model tab at the top, And before we do anything else, we want to save this. So make sure you do File, Save As, find a spot to save this. Now it's going to open up an Inventor file. I would suggest asking your teacher where they want you to save. Okay, but always save what you're doing first. Okay, so the file name in this case is going to be part 1. We can change it to anything we want. In this case, I'm not going to save this, but you will. So in order to do a sketch, we're going to start up here, and we're going to have a couple different sketches. We have a 2D sketch and a 3D sketch. We're working with 2D sketches, so this should never be changed. Okay, so click on 2D sketch, and you'll see this pop up here. These are all your axes. And if you click over here on the right, you'll notice that if I click this box up here, it gives me different views. Okay, different views. My home view, my front view, my top view. The best thing to do is click your home view, is to start on the start on the view that you want to view the object from. So if I'm working on the top of the object, I'm going to start on the top view. If I'm working on the front of the object, I'm going to start on the front view. Okay, in this case, we can start on the front of the object. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this plane. Okay, I'm going to put a sketch on this plane. So I clicked on that plane, and you notice all of a sudden now this turns green. I have a little bit different of a toolbar up here. It looks somewhat different. And I'm just going to put let's say a circle. So if I click on the down arrow, notice a lot of these have down arrows. You can choose which kind of whatever you're picking to work with. So in this one I can do a center point, I can do a tangent, I can do an ellipse. We're just going to do a center point. So I click center point, click that center point there, and if you notice, as I bring the mouse in and out, I just left click there, bring the mouse in and out, it'll change sizes. Now, here's the thing. If I want to get this to a precise size, let's say I want to get this to 0.25, I can just type in on my keyboard 0.25, hit enter. It'll give me a circle that's that size. And since I'm looking at the front view, all I see is just a circle, but if I click on my home view, it'll turn it to the side. Okay, let's click back on my front view, and let's say that's all I wanted, was just a circle. I now go up here to Finish Sketch, and it gives me just the circle, and now what I want to do is I want to give it some depth. I want to put some meat on this, if you will. Okay, so I go to 3D Model. If I click on Extrude, what it's going to do is it's going to ask me what I want to do. Now in this case, you don't have anything else to pick from except for this, so it automatically selects this. Normally, if you click Extrude, it's going to ask you what you want to click. This is a really popular command, Extrude, so you're using this a lot, so get used to this. There's a couple different ones. This is direction 1. It's coming out towards us. If I click here, it's direction 2. It goes the opposite direction. If I click this one here, it's symmetrical, so it splits the difference. Okay. And then this is asymmetrical. Okay, so you can do more one way and less of another. So in this case, I want to go direction 2, and let's say I want to bring it back, my distance, I want to bring it back ½ an inch. So I'm going to do 0.5, and then I hit enter. Okay, very, very simple. I click my front view again, all I see is my circle. I click my home view, I see my cylinder shape. Okay, let's try something different. We are going to do sketch a part. We're going to pick our front view again. We're going to do my front plane, so I clicked on that, and let's do a line. And I'm just going to left click, drag this up wherever we want, and drag it over. I just left click, 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 and left click. Now, if I want to make something a certain size, I can click on the dimension tool, click on that, it gives me, I just double click that, 0.218 is the size it is right now. Let's say I want to make this 0.25, I click that, it automatically will dimension that for me. If I click on this, says, okay, that's what it is right now, but I can change that to 0.35, let's say. Okay. Let's say I want to do the same thing to this. I want to do 0.125. Okay. Let's say I want to change this. Let's see what happens. 0.156. Oh, let me do that. Perfect. And let's see if we can change this one. Uh-oh. What happened? It says adding this dimension will over-constrain the sketch. So what happens is I'm trying to resize this, but unfortunately all of these are already sized and it's preventing me from resizing this. If you see an error that comes up, such as that one, read the error. Don't just hit accept or cancel. Okay, there's probably a reason why it's coming up. So in this case, I want to cancel it and say, okay, I can't do anything else with that. So we're just going to leave it alone. If you really need to resize this, you need to go back and delete some of your other dimensions. Okay. In this case, what we're going to do is we are going to have some fun with this. So we're going to go to 3D Model, Extrude. Okay, and I'm actually going to extrude out this little piece that I made right here. We're going to go that way, which is direction 2. Okay. And if I spin this around, we can see what I just made. Click on my home command. Very, very cool. Alright. On the right side here, the left side here, you can see that the model, which we see here, you can see the origin. It gives us our planes, and also you can see exactly what we've done. So my original sketch, okay, I just left click on this. So this is my original sketch that I made, and then you can tell that I extruded it because it says extrusion. Okay, you can really use this. It'll help you out a lot. One thing you can do, and you can get used to doing, right click. After you left click on, this, open it up, right click on your sketches, and you can click on visibility, and you can leave your sketch open when you're working if you want to see it. If it's getting in your way, come over to your sketch again, right click on it, and then just turn visibility off. Okay. So we're going to go to File, New, and we're going to create a new part. So now we're starting over again. Make sure that you save it. Alright, and let's see. Let's do something a little more fun here. Let's go in our front view. Let's click here. Let's grab a rectangle. So I'm going to make this rectangle 0.5. I'm going to hit the Tab key, which brings this dimension 0.25. And hit enter. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to do Finish Sketch. Alright, and I'm going to do something kind of fun here. I'm going to do my revolve. Alright, and what I want to do is I want to select an axis. That's something to revolve around. Alright, and if you notice when I did that, it kind of made a circular shape with what I just did. So I'm going to click on my OK mark here, and look, I made it like a pizza. Alright, that is the revolve tool. Let's go back. Alright, so let's just do extrude for right now, and let's do a symmetrical, and let's do a distance, a symmetrical distance of 0.5. Okay, you notice that it gave me, if I turn on my visibility here, you notice that it gave me the distance that I wanted. I went 0.5. If I'm not sure exactly how long something is, I can come up to my inspect, I can click on distance, here to here, and you notice it gives me a little blue line there. It tells me, okay, it's 0.25. Since I did symmetrical, it's going to give me half the distance on each side. So 0.25 here, and if I click here to here, it's going to give me the same of 0.25. Okay. You can also do angles. If you have a curved surface, you can do that. All right, so let's go back. Let's do File, New Part, and let's do something different here. Let's make a box. So let's do a 2D sketch. Okay, we're going to click on the front, and I actually want you to make this one. We're going to click the front surface here. Let's do a rectangle. I'm going to start it right in the center, bring it up and over, and we're going to do 1 inch, tab, 1 inch, enter. Click on my home view, and then we're going to go to 3D model. We're going to extrude this out direction 2. Extrude it out 1 inch. So I have a box that is 1 inch by 1 inch. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to right click on one of the edges here. Okay, notice I'm just right clicking on them. Right click, and it brings up some different options. You can select a work plane, you can do a new sketch on there, but in this case we're going to do a fillet. Okay, and this is a real common one. You can make nice little edges on, nice little curved edges on your edges. And it's asking me what's the radius. That R is asking for radius. And in this case I have 0.125. I'm going to select a radius of 0.75. I didn't hit enter yet, but as you can see, what I did was it gave me a little preview of what it'll look like. Okay, let's say I do a radius of 1.5. It's a pretty big radius. Let's do a 5-inch radius, 56-inch, 5-inch radius, see what it does. Okay, so you can consistently type in what you want. It'll give you the best it can do. Okay, so let's make this a little more realistic. Let's do a 0.25 radius. If I like what I have here, I can do the OK, which is the check mark, and it'll give me that radius. If I come over here to the left-hand side and I click on the plus sign, I open up my sketch. It gives me my original sketch, and then it tells me what my curvature is with my fillet. I also can left click on the angles, or on the sides here, and it gives me the option to create a chamfer or to create my own fillet right there. So let's do a chamfer this time. And if you notice, it actually follows this edge all the way down. I don't know if I want to do that much of it, but that's okay. So let's do this. Let's click on the chamfer, and let's do 0.5. Uh-oh, what happened? I have this little error message here. What it's telling me is the command that I'm typing in, the distance here, the 0.5, it can't do it. There's just not enough room. It can't physically make this. So if you get this little error here, okay, bring it down. So let's try 0.4. Nope, can't do it. How about 0.3? Nope, how about 0.2? Oh, okay, 0.2 will work. You notice that once it went away, it also gave me the sample of what it'll look like here. So let's say 0.25. Okay, that'll work. Perfect. So now I have fillet, and I also have a chamfer on here. Alright. Let's go over to the left side. Let's come up here. I'm going to click on the left side. And we're going to do a hole. We're going to select a face, and this is the face in which we're going to do. Wherever I select it is where it puts the hole. This command can get pretty confusing for some people because there are so many options. You can do a distance too, like you can go to a certain distance. You can go an actual distance itself. You can type in how deep you want to go. You can go through the whole thing. It'll go right through it. A lot of people get confused by this. What I like to start my students off with is if you want to do a hole, just do a sketch. Okay, the hole command is great, and you can play with that a little bit later, but just do a sketch with a circle. Okay, so we're just going to put a 0.25-inch hole right there, and what I do is I'm just going to turn this over to the side, and I'm going to Extrude. Now, we've used Extrude to make things out of it and make something. You can also do it to take away stuff. Okay, so in this case, we're going to Extrude, and you notice it automatically comes out this way. We want to do direction 2. Let's go direction 2. Okay, and we want to go all the way through it. Yeah, that's pretty good. That works. Okay, but let's say we didn't want to. Let's say we want to go a distance of 0.5, or 0.5, I typed in 0.2. If you notice, inside here, you can see how far it went in. Okay, it went in that distance. And what it'll do is, if I click OK, it'll actually take away that distance. I can do 2. So it's going to ask me, what do you want to go to? And I can select it. I want to go to this. Okay. I can go between something. If I had multiple sketches here, I could go between something. I can just do all, which in this case would be the same as going to the outside edge here. Okay. So in this case, it's really not going to make a difference which one we pick. So let's just do a distance of 0.5, and we'll have a little fun with this. Okay, so now we have a hole that is a distance of 0.5, and we want to make this a little more, I want to say pretty. So let's do this. Let's click on the edge here like we've done before, and we're going to make a fillet. Okay, and again we get our radius, and our last command was 0.25, so it automatically defaults to whatever we did last. So this case was 0.25. Let's see if I can do 0.5. Wow, that's really, really big. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do point, which is already in there, 0.15. And you notice how it turns black? If it's red, that means that there's something wrong. If I go to hit enter, when it's red, I'm hitting enter right now, nothing's happening. Okay, it'll either not do anything or it'll give you an error message. So in this case, we're going to do 0.25. Okay, it's in there. It looks pretty good. Let's do 0.2. Perfect. It looks a little bit better. Alright, I didn't hit enter yet, but what I did was I switched some sides here. I was going to zoom in and out, and I'm going to show you this right now. I'm using the wheel on the mouse. I know you can't see that, but I'm using the wheel on the mouse. If I push the wheel away from me, it makes the object very, very small. If I pull the wheel towards me, it makes the object larger. If you ever get confused on where you are when working with something, come up here, click the home command. It'll automatically take you back to the isometric view, the top, front, and the right side. Okay, and for this case, I want to click on this side of it up here. So let's just do that. And I want to make this a little bit smaller on my screen. Perfect. 0.2, I like that. Let's click it. Alright. And that looks pretty cool. So let's go with that. Alright. Very nice. And let's do one more object here. Let's do File. Let's do New Part. We're going to do a sketch. We're going to do front. Click on this. And let's just do a rectangle. And we're going to make this like a big object. So let's do 5 inches. I'm typing 5, tab by 2. Okay. Very cool. I right-clicked and then I hit OK. If you notice that my dimension lines are on here, I can right-click onto here. Oops. I can right-click onto here at any time. Okay. And go to Properties. Okay. And what I want to do is, I just talked about my line type. If you want to change the types of lines that are on here, which sometimes makes it a lot easier when you're dealing with multiple different sketches, you could do like a chain type line. You can do a dash. If you just do it like apply, you can just change the line type. I use this sometimes if I'm working with multiple sketches on the same object. Okay, the default, the solid line, is pretty convenient, obviously, but let's say you just wanted to do something a little bit different. You want to do dashes. Okay, so I'm just going to make dashes out of that, and we're good. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to give this some depth. So I'm going to go back to my home view and extrude, and I'm going to extrude this in direction 2. Notice I clicked on here, direction 2, 0.25. Okay, so I made it 1/4 of an inch. And again, if I right click on sketch 1, visibility, I can see what I've done. Okay, same thing with my extrusion. If I click on that, I can see exactly what I've done. I'm going to right click on this, turn visibility off. And now what I want to do is I want to have some fun with drawing. So let's do 2D sketch. And let's go to sketch, and let's go to my arc tool. Okay, so come up right here. And what I want to do is I can do multiple types of arcs. I can do a center point arc, I can do a 3-point arc. My favorite is 3-point. I'm going to left click, start here. Okay, I'm just going there, left click again. Now watch. I can make an arc any way I want it. Any way I want it. Okay, so let's click here. And let's do this. Let's do left click here. Click there. Anywhere I want that. Let's do there. Perfect. Now let's do this. Let's zoom in and let's click right here. Let's make it a straight line. Let's make an arc there. Perfect. Okay, I'm not really measuring this out. I'm just making some random arcs. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to get rid of the excess stuff that I don't need here anymore. So I'm going to come up to my trim tool, and I'm just going to trim that part off. You notice how it turns into like little dots? Click that, it trims it for me. Now what I want to do is I want to make this same thing over on this side, but I don't want to have to draw it. It just takes too long, and you're not going to be able to get it perfect. So save yourself some time and mirror it. We're going to grab a straight line here. You notice that the little dots come up. I'm just going to make a straight line down. Doesn't make a difference. Right click, go to OK, and we're going to click mirror. The mirror line, just like it sounds, is the line that you want to mirror everything off of. So I'm going to click mirror line, left click here, and then the selection. Select everything that you want to mirror. And what I'm going to do is click apply. It just mirrored that right over there. And click done. Now I know what you're thinking, hey Mr. C, and now I got this line in the middle. Yeah, not a problem. Right click on it, delete. Okay. And let's go back to our arc tool, and let's do a center point arc. So let's say I want to start right in the middle here, center point. I can go from this center point. You notice it kind of looks like a circle. I can click right there, and I can bring my arc up any way I want it. Okay, so what I did was I started here, the center point, actually made an arc off of that center point. Okay, so I actually arced it. So really what I did was I just basically put part of a circle. That's all I did. Okay, if I don't want this, I can just go back. I can do that, or Control Z, Control and Z. Okay, it takes that away as well. Alright, so think of a center point arc as just making part of a circle. Okay, a tangent arc creates an arc tangent to another entity. Okay, just what it sounds like. So if I click tangent arc, I could say, okay, so I want to make an arc tangent to that. So look, so I click on that, I just want to make an arc that follows that right there. So just the way it sounds. Okay, I'm going to make it based off another arc. I'm going to make an arc based off another arc. Okay, so let's go back. Let's do this. Let's make a circle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down right here. You notice these little dotted lines here? This tells me that I'm right in line with this point. I'm right in line with this point. Click. let's do 0.85. Perfect. Very nice. Now let's grab my line tool. And I just want to zoom into here. And we'll bring it straight across to there. Click here. There. Very nice. Now what I want to do is I want to get rid of that point right there. Trim tool. Click it. And if you go to click it and it highlights the whole thing, that means that you haven't connected all these correctly. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to make these look a little bit better. I want to give that a little more of a curvature. So let's go to 3-point arc. Okay. Let's click somewhere in the middle here. If you notice, it highlights the middle for me. It turns green. Let's click the middle there. And let's click the bottom here. And now if you look, it gives me the dimensions right there. Do you see that? You see where it says 0.97? I can actually type in something. So let's say I want to do 0.95. Okay? What it does is based off of the arc that I'm doing, okay, it's just giving me part of a circle. So it's giving me 0.95. That's the actual measurement that I'm getting right here. And what I can do is I can now eliminate what I don't want by trimming the excess parts. Okay, let's do the same thing again. Let's do arc, 3-point. Okay, again, I click, see the little green dot, perfect. Green dot, perfect. And that one's 0.95. I can just type in 0.95. It's going to give me that exact shape. And let's go to trim, trim, trim. If you notice, I have a little extra on here. Let's trim that. Very nice. Now what I want to do is I want to get rid of everything except for my shape here. So let's go to 3D model, let's go to extrude, and now it's going to say, well, what do you want to do? And it automatically selects the center. Now, what if I don't want to do the center? Okay, understandable. Alright, so what you can do is you can actually tell it, hey, listen, I don't want to extrude this, I want to extrude something else. Alright, so, I'll cancel again. Alright, so extrude, it highlights this. I don't want to get rid of this, because if I did that, it'll bring that out actually. What I want to do is, I want to do extrude, okay, and then I want to do the center one here, which is intersect, click OK, and it leaves me just the centerpiece. Alright, and that concludes just a basic tutorial of how to use Inventor.